All right, Maria, thank you very much.
Thanks.
Meanwhile, straight ahead on the docket, the Supreme Court about to take up a key case on Obamacare. Is that why Democrats are now hurling attacks against the Supreme Court? They're trying to brush them back. We're going to talk about that next with Peter Johnson Jr. We only work 3 hours a day, so it's double. I'm kidding. We work all day long. Meanwhile, we told you about the game that Democrats are playing against Americans expressing political speech. And today we have a closer look at how the Democrats are demonizing the Supreme Court.
The direction that the court is headed in is just dramatic and just dark.
It is a sign of a court that has an agenda. The money rules, and everybody else can go hang.
Today deals a real blow to those of us who believe in integrity in government.
Inequality is sweeping over our political system, daunts them not a whit.
This is not about democracy for the many. This is about democracy for the money over here.
Democracy for the money. So whatever happened to separation of powers? Fox News legal analyst Peter Johnson Jr. joins us with a closer look at hypocrisy.
There is one power. The power is money, and the Democrats are going to spend their money to pressure the Supreme Court. They say, well, we're just working the ref the way you do in a football game or a basketball game. But this is not a game. This is about the separation of powers. This is about judicial independence. Justice is supposed to be blind in America. And so what they're saying is, Supreme Court, we're going to take the blinders off, and you're going to see how much we can jam you in mainstream media and in progressive websites. And so they're going out and getting actual campaign contributions now from people using the likeness of Chief Judge Roberts and the other people who voted against their interests, they believe, on Citizens United and in the recent McCutcheon case that allowed people to give contributions in every state if they wanted to in federal campaigns.
Well, and that Supreme Court decision that came out essentially said was there's an arbitrary cap on the amount of money you can give. It should be unlimited, which really you're talking about freedom of speech. But what's interesting about this is this particular Supreme Court, Peter Johnson Jr., you would think that the left would love them given the fact that they validated Obamacare.
They did validate Obamacare, but it's got to be fight by fight by fight. Remember when the president went after the Supreme Court in 2010 at the State of the Union, and how one justice responded during it? Let's take a look at that.
Last week, the Supreme Court reversed a century of law that I believe will open the floodgates for special interests, including foreign corporations, to spend without limit in our elections.
Yeah.
Not true, Justice Alito said. And so what we have now is a situation in this country where judicial independence is threatened. We understand politics at the White House level. We understand politics in Congress. But it is maybe unwritten that the sanctity of the Supreme Court is so important to the bulwark of democracy, to the strength and endurance of our republic, that we say, hands off. We respect, but we disagree. But we don't go out and raise millions of dollars and go on television and in the floor of the Senate and say, they got it wrong, they're bad, we're going to go after them unless they get it right. Hands off the Supreme Court. Hands off regular Americans. Hands off rich Americans. Hands off poor Americans. The Supreme Court is acting based upon their constitutional duties, and they should be doing it unimpeded and not harassed in this particular way.
Indeed. They are America's umpire. They got to be
separation of powers.
That's what you're talking about. Peter Johnson Jr., thanks for laying it out all for us.
Good to see you, Steve.
All right.